I'm currently in the middle of 15 book series, and that does not include book series where I'm waiting for the next book to come out, or a series I don't plan on finishing. I only have one book left to read for, I want to say, like 7 of those series, so I'm gonna get through like 3 or 4 of them in this video. This will be spoiler free, of course, so I hope you enjoy. Not so patiently waiting to read Destroy the Day until it came out in paperback, but I bought a Kindle, so I might as well read it now. It is the 3rd and final book in the Defy the Night trilogy, which is a YA fantasy series that I just adore. It's about a pandemic that has been terrorizing the kingdom of Kandala, and the only cure for it is the Moonflower Elixir. It's of course made of moonflower, which is really rare, and so it's very desirable. People have been stealing it and then selling it on the black market. Tessa, on the other hand, is an apothecary that has been stealing the moonflower to make elixir to give to those in need. Meanwhile, our other main character is Prince Korik, who is the king's brother and the king's justice. The role of the king's justice is to punish everybody that commits crimes, including those who steal the moonflower. I'm gonna read the actual synopsis for this next part. As rumors spread that the cure no longer works and sparks of rebellion begin to flare, a particularly cruel act from the king's justice makes Tessa desperate enough to try the impossible, sneaking into the king's palace. But what she finds upon her arrival makes her wonder if it's even possible to fix Kandala without destroying it first. It sounds like a story that's very political, which it is, but it also has plenty of action if that's what you're into when it comes to fantasy books. Now I want to talk about Destroy the Day specifically. The characters are like so observant of each other, and they're like always willing to like voice concern about one another to like let the other know that they notice what the other person is going through. I just really appreciate characters that genuinely care about the well-being of others. I think that's why I like Found Family so much, because these characters just like love each other so much that they see each other as family. That's just so perfect. How could you not love that? Now I do have like a minor complaint about this book, but I can't really go too in depth on it without spoiling the first 2. So I'll just say this book is lacking something that was really well done in the first 2 books. It doesn't make the book bad, it was just something I was looking forward to read about. I think that was enough chatter, so now I'm gonna continue to read. Wait. I did not see that coming. Wait. Wait. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming at all. I'm so glad it did. Wow. I'm 386 pages into Destroy the Day, which is 74% into the book. Now, let's be honest with each other. You can comment down below everything you like about me, and I will tell you my true thoughts about this book. There are several storylines that you follow, and for the most part, it like switches each chapter. There's a new name at the top that tells you whose POV we are in. Some storylines and POVs are better than others. Specifically, I thought one was really boring. And you know, like, it's fine, like, you know, it's switching every chapter, not a big deal, until all of a sudden, that name kept appearing over and over and over again. I think there were like 10 chapters in a row in a certain character's POV. I was bored out of my mind. There is one part of that storyline that made me very happy that was very unexpected, but for the most part, it was just boring, and I was like, I really don't care. Like, give me something else. I want to go to the other storylines. They have so much more going on in them. They're so much more entertaining. They're about characters I care more about. I actually FaceTimed my mom because I feel the need to tell her everything, and threw a fit because I was like, I'm so sick of reading this POV. It grinded my gears. I was not having a good time, and it's the way I was like, please, like ready to tap to see whose name would come next, and then, you know, be the same one, and I'd be like, ah! I would scream a little bit, and then the fateful tap when I saw a new name. I've never experienced such euphoria before. I think that was the most exciting minute of my life. It's like when people have kids and meet their baby for the first time. That is the joy I felt. I have to say, like, the storyline that I thought was boring, there was one, like, big redeeming thing that I didn't see coming, Or maybe I did. I feel like I might have theorized it in the second book, but then forgot about it when reading the third book. It happens like a pretty decent way into the book, and I just like didn't think about it when reading this book, but then it happened, and I was like, I'm gagged. I did not see that coming. Like that was a redeeming quality, but then the chapters and chapters of nothing following it, it's not really it. So I was getting bored, but as soon as the point of view switched, all of a sudden I was like, this book is amazing. Have I read anything better? Yes, honestly, but like you get the point. It was like really, really good. I was like, oh, Miss Bridget. What are you doing? This is the first book I'm reading completely on Kindle, and I have noticed myself like just like tapping away, not realizing how much I'm actually reading. Like, I'm almost 400 pages into this. That would be like a pretty big like, you know, that would be like my hand would be cramping holding that many pages. I am excited to see how this all wraps up, because it's not only like wrapping up this book, but it's wrapping up the whole series, and that's quite a big storyline that I've been following. There's quite a few people that I care about, and I want to know what their journey comes to. My camera's going to stop recording in like 5 seconds because I'm going to time out. That was a good line. I'll give it to him. I am going to throw a fit if there is not a plot twist. No. She did not just do that. She did not. Miss Kimmerer, you did not just do that. I can't do it. No. Are you kidding me? Someone's pulling my leg. My tiny little brain cannot process everything that I just read. Oh. This trilogy is so good, and now I'm sad that I'm done with it. I'm happy, but I'm sad. Ugh. When coming up with what I want to rate this book, I've kind of been going back and forth. I did admit to being bored for part of it, but then the ending was just so good. The ending was a lot. So much happens right at once, and you don't know how to feel at any given moment. But I like it when books can make me feel something, and I feel like that book definitely made me feel something. Okay, so I've decided 4 stars. There were several scenes from this book that just felt so perfect and just like so well done, so curated towards these characters, and they made me so happy. I definitely want to read more books by her, but I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely and I didn't really love it. I want to read more like it. Like, this series feels so special. One of the tropes slash one of the things I really love most about this trilogy is found family. I don't specifically try to find books with found family. I just realized after I finish books that I tend to like books that have found family more than books that don't. Especially in this last book, I became very attached to like all of these side characters that don't seem very important. This doesn't always happen in books, but all of a sudden I wanted to know all of their backstories and what was going on in their lives, and I feel like Bridget Kimmerer did like a really good job like writing these characters and writing how they would interact with each other and really everything about them. This might sound bad, but I think a lot of times you can look at side characters as like disposable. They don't really matter. They don't really have lives. Like, you know, they're a side character. Who cares about them? But she made them so human. They had personalities. They didn't just like blend in with one another. She made them interesting and lovable. I have started 2 more books, but I don't know which one I'm gonna vlog about first. But you'll know right now. You'll find out now. Welcome to my car. I wanted to film in my room and give a little bit of an update, but the vibes were off. So I thought I needed like a change in location, but I don't really have very many places I can go, so my car it is. I was thinking I might drive around and try to find like a new spot to read in, but I also have to be careful because I don't want to film other people. I'm 104 pages into Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. It is the second book in the Part of Your World series, which is a series of 3 interconnected standalones, but I already read the first and the third book, so this is all I have left. I have high expectations for this book, which is really no different than any other book in this video. There are plenty of series out there where I read the first book and I didn't like it, so I didn't continue the series, but I expect all these books to be great because I would not read them otherwise. Brianna is an ER doctor whose life is falling apart. It's not going well. Everything is going wrong. And it's not even like a little bit wrong. Like it's an awful situation to be in. And then there's a new ER doctor that comes in. Her first impressions of the new doctor, Jacob, are terrible. Terrible. The first couple are just like truly not great, not a good look for him, and she automatically is like, I don't like him. Now Jacob is truly an anxious person and things keep going wrong with him as well. He's also having a hard time, especially with the adjustment of getting a new job, and of course she doesn't like him and isn't treating him great. So he writes her a letter like apologizing for his first impressions and trying to explain himself to her, and she actually really likes the letter and then responds back with more notes and letters, and they just kind of, that's how they talk to each other, is by letter. He is so sweet and thoughtful, and he pays attention to every little thing she says or does. I feel like Abby Jimenez just knows how to write like the most perfect, gentle, sweet, funny, caring, beautiful, amazing, insert more flattering adjectives, men. And she also knows how to give characters a good sob story that's, like, believable. Dr. Brianna is struggling with her dating life because she claims everybody out there that is her age is a dud. Her expectations aren't even all that high. She's saying, like, the bare minimum is to find someone with a headboard, which, that's crazy that people don't have headboards. How could you not have a headboard? I'm really enjoying this. I really am. I usually like to read about characters that are close to my own age, but Abby Jimenez, you know, writes about characters that are a bit older than me, and I still love them. Even though we don't necessarily have a lot to relate to, I still just really like them and want to hear more about their story or read more, I guess. I need to, like, block the sun now. They are a lot of fun. Just do it with your book, Erin. They are, no, my book's, like, not enough. I think my head might be bigger. They are a lot of fun, and you should read them. It is getting a little chilly in here, so I'll probably go inside and read now. And hopefully the vibes will be right in my room. All I wanted was a little connection, but they only care for your reflection. I tried to blend, but I'll never be like okay. I finally, officially, only have like 100 pages left of this book. Now that I'm here, I have the other 2 books in my possession. And if I had to like compare this to these are better. I feel like just overall, I liked pretty much every aspect of these books. And there's just like one thing that's like, not even just like one thing. It's like, well, it's one thing, but it's kind of a big thing that I'm not the biggest fan of in this book. Before I get into that though, the characters from the other books are in here, of course, like, that's how interconnected standalones work. And every interaction they have, I'm just like, oh, I love them so much. And, you know, I didn't really know how they were interconnected because it wasn't like a friend group or a family, which I feel like a lot of these series, that's how they're connected. You know, they're all one big friend group, and you know from the beginning who's gonna get a book and who's not. This isn't really like that, where there is this core friend group. The connections are not like right up in your face, but reading about some of the characters, like, I was so happy to read about them again, and I adore them. I really do, and they brought a smile to my face. Now, my issue with this book has to do with like some of the conflict. I think every book needs conflict. Well, that's not even I think. Books need conflict. Without conflict, they're boring. There's nothing happening. There's really no point of the book. There needs to be some sort of problem that's being solved. But I just don't really like the conflict in this book. I think it's silly. It's really just like a silly problem, and not in the silly haha, like that's kind of funny way. Silly in the way that they're doctors not using their brains. They're ER doctors. They should be some of the smartest people out there, but they act like they're in high school, I swear. Not in the way that they're necessarily acting like teenagers, just like the way they think about relationships. I'm like, are you serious? Are you 5? I think I'm really just mad at how one character handled a situation, because I thought it was like very hurtful and just like it made me mad. I was like, why would you respond to that situation in this way? I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think it's the right thing to do. And it honestly just kind of made that character unlikable to me. But there are still so many moments in this book where I'm like kicking my feet and I'm like loving everything that's going on. I think Abby Jimenez does a really good job like writing humor and comedy, and there's so many parts where there's like a joke being thrown in that like I actually think it's funny, and I'm like, I catch myself laughing out loud. There are so many great, funny, emotional moments, but there's also, you know, just kind of things that are like on my mind while reading it, like, oh, remember when this character did that and this character did that, and like, oh, get out of my mind. I don't know, I feel like I'm looking too far into it and I'm being too critical, but it's like rubbing me the wrong way a little bit. But that kind of makes me seem like I'm not enjoying the book. I am enjoying it. I am. I think there's so many great parts. It's just those little things that like, get out of my brain, stop it. It's like plaguing my mind. I'm willing to try to look past the conflict I didn't like and read the last 100 pages thinking, oh, this is gonna be amazing. And we'll see if that mindset actually works and if I actually enjoy these last 100 pages. I honestly think I will. I feel like Abby Jimenez is really good at writing a great ending, and I just hope that this is a great ending that is like, makes me rate the book so much higher. Let me finish it and get back to you. Hopefully I will finish this book and be able to leave it here so I don't have to take it back with me. That's my goal. My dad insisted that we arrive to a concert pretty early, so I decided that would be a great time to try to finish my book. I would like to add, I was not ignoring him per se. We had been together for hours at that point, okay? We already chit-chatted, we already got caught up, you know? All of that was done, and I was ready to read, and he was ready to read the news or do whatever he does on his phone. And I read smut right next to him. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So then I ended up finishing the book that night. I'd say it's a 3-star read for me. I really liked the first half. It was very engaging. It was entertaining. I really liked the characters. I liked how they were interacting with each other. And then the tropes got really annoying, and they were just tropes that I don't like. And I feel like she just included a lot of tropes. Like, it was very heavy on the tropes. So then I felt indifferent towards the second half of the book. I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as I enjoyed the first half. I still think she's a great author. I just think this one story wasn't for me. But hey, I finished another series, and I know to maybe avoid those tropes in the future if I can. I only need to finish like 19 more books and then my book buying ban can end. Okay, on to the next book. I just made it to book 2 of Queen of Nothing, so I'm around halfway through the book. I feel like that last little scene we got was needed. It got really interesting just then. Not that the first half wasn't interesting at all, because it has been interesting. It's been, of course, very easy to follow. It is YA fantasy, like, you know. I would rather spend more time reading this tonight than give a synopsis right now, so editing Aaron, do your thing. Now I'm going to give you a synopsis of The Cruel Prince, which is the first book in the Folk of the Air trilogy. When Jude was 7 years old, her human parents were slaughtered by fairies. Not good, but luckily the fairies that slaughtered her parents decided they were going to raise her in the fairy world. So fairies are pretty vicious, pretty violent, hateful, conniving backstabbers. A lot of them don't like Jude because they know she's human and they're like, oh, she's inferior. We are gonna have to bully her and like make her life awful, you know? What can we do to make her life even harder than it already is? Let's do it. Jude grows up to be a pretty tough cookie and decides that she's going to defy the prince, and of course, there are consequences and it all goes from there. That's all. All of the characters are very clever and cunning, and they could absolutely outsmart me any day of the week, and I consider myself to be smart, not to toot my own horn. Jude is a human, right? So if you were to put us in the same situation, we would definitely not respond in the same way, but I like her. I like the decisions she makes. I think I admire how clever she is, and I wish I would be, I wish I was as clever as she is. There's times when like I say a joke and people are like, oh, that was really clever, that was really good, and usually it's by accident. Trying to compare myself to fictional characters though probably isn't a good idea, so I'm gonna stop doing that. I have to say I think Holly Black did a great job giving us characters to root for and characters to hate. All of Jude's enemies are my enemies. The stakes just like went up by like 500% though. Did they? Maybe not the stakes so much. The stakes were already high, but like the drama that I suspect will come out of what just happened like shot up. But the stakes are also already high because life and death situations is what it is. I don't know, that scene was just really good. It was unexpected. It made me clutch my pearls, okay? I just know the second half of this book is gonna hit, and if it doesn't, well, that's of course going to be disappointing, but I think it will. I think it's going to like really hold up and I think it's going to be a great ending. Right now, my mind is just plagued with like wonder as to what happens next, so maybe I'll read this, get the knowledge as to what happens, and then I'll be able to like tell you how I really feel about this book. I am really liking it so far. I am thoroughly enjoying it, so I feel like I could actually guess how this ends, because I feel like a lot of fantasy series, like, it just end in very similar ways, because there is only so many, like, satisfying endings. It's probably guessable. If it's not, then I will applaud it, and I will let you know if I didn't guess it, but I think I have an idea as to what happens. I don't think I'm gonna finish this tonight, but I do have hope that it will be done tomorrow. As of right now, my predictions were way off, not even close. Which props to Miss Holly Black. This is not where I thought it was going. So that's a good thing, right? Surprise. I think. Okay, I think I'm
Wasn't like any other summer. Soon it left that warm summer breeze. Although you gave me your promise that you were never gonna leave.
I finished The Queen of Nothing, and I'm gonna rate it 4 stars. It would be 5 stars if Carden didn't have a tail. If they would have chopped it off, it would have been a perfect book. I'm kidding. That's not true. I'm not holding that against the book. But I do have to say, like, every single time the tail is mentioned, I get completely taken out of the story. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I forgot it was there. Now it's back, and I don't want to read about it, honestly. The ending was really good. It really was a good ending to the trilogy. I'm glad I finished it, of course. I know there is a spin-off series and like a spin-off novella. I don't know when I will get to them, but I definitely want to get to them as soon as the book buying ban is over. But no, not as soon as it gets over. I'm doing the ban to get my TBR under control, and then maybe I'll get to it. Maybe. I probably will. I plan on it. That ending was really entertaining. It had me on the edge of my seat, and I didn't really expect it to go in the direction that it did, but I'm happy it did. I have to say I was a big fan of like the character arcs and how they changed so much throughout the series, while also not changing at all. They're still like very much true to themselves, but they've grown up. Finishing this just makes me want to like pick up another book and read more. Like, I'm so motivated to keep reading right now, and that motivation's probably gonna go when I'm editing this video, but hopefully not. In the next couple of days, I do plan on starting a new series, but it's for a good reason. It's for a good reason, okay? And we're not taking steps backwards. You know, I just finished 3. I can start 1 more. I was able to imagine everything so clearly in my head, and that ending felt so real, and like it was a very clear picture. I have friends that can't see like images in their head, and I feel like reading really would not be fun if you can't do that. I feel so bad for them. Anyway, I hope you like this video. If you would like, comment, and subscribe, I would very much appreciate it. I will see you at some point or another. Bye!